Imagine a world where you are not troubled by the uncertainties of life, where the loss of direction or the weight of disillusionment does not pull you down. This is the promise of Epictetus, a philosopher born nearly 2,000 years ago, whose teachings remain strikingly relevant to the challenges we face today. Epictetus was a Stoic, a thinker who believed that true contentment and purpose come not from the world around us, but from within ourselves. His philosophy, recorded by his student Arrian in works such as the Discourses and the Enchiridion, offers a way to navigate life's difficulties by focusing on what lies within our power. Today, many of us struggle with a lack of purpose, a sense that our efforts are meaningless, or a feeling of being overwhelmed by circumstances beyond our control. Epictetus provides a framework to address these struggles, not by changing the world, but by changing how we respond to it. Epictetus was born a slave in the Roman Empire around 50 A.D., in a place called Hierapolis in what is now Turkey. His early life was defined by servitude, yet he turned his mind toward freedom in a way that no chains could restrict. After gaining his freedom, he dedicated himself to philosophy, teaching in Rome and later in Nicopolis, Greece, where he lived simply until his death around 135 A.D. His teachings were not written by his own hand, but preserved through the diligence of Arrian, who attended his lectures and captured their essence. What Epictetus offered was not a set of abstract theories, but a practical guide for living, a way to find peace and purpose regardless of external conditions. At the core of Epictetus's philosophy is a simple yet profound distinction. There are things within our control and things outside of it. He taught that our opinions, our desires, our aversions, and our actions are within our power. These belong to us, and no one can take them away. In contrast, our bodies, our possessions, our reputation, and the actions of others are not ours to command. They are subject to chance, to the will of others, to the unpredictability of life. Epictetus argued that all our distress, all our frustration, comes from confusing these two categories, from grasping at what we cannot hold and neglecting what we can shape. Consider this idea in the context of today. Many of us feel lost because we tie our sense of worth to things we cannot fully control. We seek approval from others, whether through recognition at work or the opinions of those around us. We chase wealth or status, believing they will bring us purpose, only to find that these things can vanish through no fault of our own. A job lost, a market crashed, a relationship ended. Epictetus would say that this is where we err. By placing our happiness in what lies beyond our reach, we set ourselves up for disappointment. Instead, he urges us to turn inward, to focus on our own thoughts and choices, for these are the true sources of our strength. One of his central teachings is that it is not events themselves that disturb us, but our judgments about them. A delay in our plans, a criticism from another, a failure to achieve what we hoped. These do not inherently harm us. It is our belief that they are terrible, that they diminish us, that causes our suffering. Epictetus gives the example of death, which many fear as the ultimate evil. He asks us to consider, when death comes, we will not be here to experience it as a loss. Why then should we torment ourselves with the thought of it now? This principle applies to smaller matters as well. If we are overlooked for an opportunity, we may judge it as proof of our inadequacy. But Epictetus would ask, why not see it as simply something that happened, something outside your control, and thus not a reflection of your worth? In our modern lives, this teaching is a powerful antidote to disillusionment. We often feel that the world should conform to our expectations, that success should come easily, that others should treat us fairly, that life should unfold according to our plans. When it does not, we grow frustrated, believing we have been cheated of what we deserve. Epictetus challenges this. He says we are not entitled to a world that bends to our will. What we are entitled to is our own response. If we can let go of the demand that life be other than it is, we free ourselves from much of our discontent. The lack of direction we feel may stem from waiting for external signs to guide us, a clear career path, a perfect relationship, a moment of inspiration. Epictetus suggests that direction comes not from waiting, but from acting within the sphere of our own power. Another key aspect of his philosophy is the role of virtue. For Epictetus, the purpose of life is not to accumulate wealth or fame, but to live in accordance with reason and goodness. Virtue, he believed, is the only true good, and vice, the only true evil. Everything else, health, poverty, success, failure, is indifferent, neither good nor bad in itself. What matters is how we use these things. A person may be wealthy and miserable if they are greedy or cruel, while another may be poor and content if they are kind and wise. This idea cuts through the modern obsession with external markers of success. We often measure our lives by what we have achieved or acquired, only to find that these things do not fill the void within us. Epictetus offers a different measure. Are you living well, with integrity and courage, in the face of whatever comes? This focus on virtue can help us rediscover purpose. Today, many of us feel adrift because we lack a clear sense of what we are striving for. We pursue goals set by others, society, family, culture, without asking whether they align with who we wish to be. Epictetus invites us to define purpose for ourselves, not as a distant prize, but as a way of being. To act justly, to face challenges with patience, to treat others with respect. These are ends in themselves, available to us at every moment. No grand achievement is required, only the decision to exercise our reason and will. Epictetus also emphasized the importance of accepting fate. He often spoke of life as a play, in which we are assigned roles by a greater power, be it God, nature, or the order of the universe. Our task is not to choose the role, but to play it well. If we are cast as a beggar, we should be the best beggar we can be. If we are cast as a ruler, we should rule with justice. This does not mean passivity, but a recognition that much of life is given to us, not made by us. We cannot dictate the circumstances of our birth, the losses we endure, or the opportunities that pass us by. What we can dictate is our attitude toward these things. In a world where we are constantly told we can be anything, do anything, achieve anything, this teaching can feel like a relief. The pressure to control every aspect of our lives, to build the perfect future, often leaves us exhausted and empty. Epictetus reminds us that we need not carry that burden. When we feel purposeless, it may be because we are fighting against what is, rather than working with it. To accept what comes, and to focus on how we meet it, is to find a kind of freedom. The job we dislike, the plans that fall apart, the dreams that fade. These are not the end of meaning, but the stage on which we can still act with dignity. Epictetus also taught the practice of self-discipline. He believed that our desires and fears pull us away from reason, enslaving us to passions we cannot satisfy. If we crave what we do not have, we suffer when it eludes us. If we fear losing what we cherish, we live in anxiety. His solution is to train ourselves to want only what is within our power, and to fear only what we can prevent. This does not mean suppressing all emotion, but directing it wisely. He advises us to examine our impressions, to pause when we feel anger or longing, and ask whether the cause truly merits our response. This discipline speaks directly to the modern struggle with overwhelm. We are surrounded by distractions, endless information, competing demands, the pull of instant gratification. It is easy to lose ourselves in these, to drift from one impulse to the next without a clear center. Epictetus offers a way to step back. By questioning what we chase and why, we can reclaim our attention and align it with what matters. The lack of purpose we feel may not be a lack of goals, but a lack of clarity about what deserves our care. Finally, Epictetus saw philosophy not as a set of ideas to ponder, but as a way of life to practice. He urged his students to apply his teachings daily, to test them against the realities they faced. He likened it to training for an athlete. Each challenge is an opportunity to grow stronger, to refine our character. If someone insults us, we can practice patience. If we lose something dear, we can practice acceptance. Over time, these habits build a resilience that no external force can shake. For us today, this call to practice is perhaps the most vital part of his philosophy. We may read about purpose or watch others pursue it, but Epictetus insists that it is found in doing. The disillusionment we feel, the sense that life lacks meaning, cannot be solved by thought alone. It requires us to act, to choose how we will meet each day, to decide what we will value, to shape the one thing we truly possess, ourselves. In a time when so much feels uncertain, when the paths we once trusted seem to lead nowhere, Epictetus offers a steady hand. He tells us that purpose is not lost, but waiting within us, ready to be claimed through the exercise of our own power. As we come to the end of this exploration of Epictetus's philosophy, I want to express my gratitude to you for taking the time to watch and reflect on these ideas with me. Your presence here is deeply appreciated, and I hope his teachings offer you some clarity amid the challenges of today. If you found this video meaningful, please consider leaving a like, sharing your thoughts in the comments below, and subscribing to the channel for more content on philosophy and how it can guide us through life. Thank you again, and I look forward to continuing this journey together in future videos.